anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated, yes.
To our favorite shows.
Oh, my circuit!
Everybody loves Hippo
Scary dog!
Pearson at Blurnsville.
Futurama.
Good evening. You are listening to a Rattlegion Broadcasting premier podcast TV party tonight. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Rattlegion. Tonight, our favorite shows are wrestling. Good old WWE wrestling. We're going to review for your listening pleasure NXT and NXT UK. This is what it's like when worlds collide. That's a Power Man 5000 song. No, it's just Worlds Collide. Brought to you by NXT and NXT UK. And then we're going to flip the script, turn the tide, turn the page, and turn our stomachs. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the season. The Royal Rumble.
Say it right, Mark. Say it right. The Royal Rumble. There you go.
Those dulcet...
Haku! Typhoon! Tugboat, even though he's the same guy.
You know what's funny about that? Around WrestleMania weekend, one of the matches that's being booked in one of the many clubs here in Ybor City, because as you know, when WrestleMania comes to town, so do like 100 other little shows. Well, one of those little shows is being headlined by Haku/Meng versus Filthy Tom Lawler. You know who Filthy Tom Lawler is? Chris Bailey.
Yes, sir. I've seen Mr. Oh, by the way, for folks at home listening, I am broadcasting for the first time from the Lord Nelson Hotel and Suites at 11515 South Park Street, Halifax, Nova Scotia. That's right.
Yes.
I am live and on shitty hotel Wi-Fi, so bear with me, folks. But anyway, yes, I do know who Filthy Tom Lawler is from MLW fame, sir. I do.
Yes, sir. Chris Bailey was able to cut his tauntaun open and survive the blizzard that buried all of Halifax, Nova Scotia.
No, Newfoundland, sir. Newfoundland.
I don't give a fuck. No way you live.
It was 100 centimeters of doom, folks. Centimeters, not even inches.
What's that in English?
You guys learned the metric system and get back to me. That's a lot of fucking snow. Put it that way.
I wouldn't learn the metric system in elementary school. I'm not starting now. And hey,
They tried for a few months back in like first and second grade. I remember that, but it didn't stick.
And my northeastern brother from another mother, ladies and gentlemen, from Chris's on Infinite Earths and the Cosmic Treadmill, Chris Sheehan. How you doing, sir?
Hey, how are you? You got it that time. Very good.
I had to take a breath, make sure I had oxygen to the brain. And I'm like, oh, wait, it's Sheehan, not Sheehan.
There you go.
All right, folks. So let's get this party started. I can tell you right now, I think we're all going to be in agreement here. Worlds Collide was much more enjoyable for our old asses as wrestling fans than the Royal Rumble was. But we're going to talk about them all. Am I off base here? Did we not all just thoroughly enjoy Worlds Collide? Chris Bailey?
I enjoyed Worlds Collide. I think it was basically a two-match show with some very good filler wrapped around that hot dog. So, yeah, I really liked it. And the Royal Rumble itself, well, that was a bag of interest, we'll say. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Chris Sheehan, it's hard to get you to watch anything outside of the WWE, but we're gonna break. That's my goal this year is to find is to find another brand for you to like, because I feel like you're missing out, and I know it's hard to get out of that comfort zone. It's hard to give something new a try, but there's other not AEW. I wouldn't do that to you. But there is other wrestling out there. But we'll start you off slow with WWE Light in NXT. Wasn't this a great show, Worlds Collide?
I'm of kind of like two minds of it. I enjoyed it very much, but I came away from it really just being unmoved. It felt, and I hate to use this comparison, but it almost felt like I was watching one of the Saudi shows where it was like good wrestling, but it just didn't feel like it mattered. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the matches. Most of the matches were good to great. But I came away from it kind of just like, oh, well, that was something I watched. It didn't really stick with me the way a takeover usually does, where it's like, wow, that was fantastic. This was really good. It just didn't stick with me.
I think here's the one thing. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm very, very positive on this show, very excited. But I will give you both this. The two problems with Worlds Collide were, one, it kind of has zero effect on anything happening in either the greater NXT or NXT UK programs. It kind of exists in a parallel universe.
It's Earth 2, yeah.
The second problem is they're trying to push a standalone NXT takeover that's happening in a couple of weeks in February. And normally these shows are anchored by whatever big shows in the area. Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, etc. In this particular case, with them pushing the NXT show by itself with no anchor show, they're really rolling out the marketing and production for it now. But they had to take 5 minutes to be like, oh yeah, and then there's Worlds Collide, which thankfully was anchored by the Royal Rumble. But it was like they have 2 hours a week on primetime cable network. Wednesday nights up against AEW from 8 to 10 on USA to try to remind people and sell them on the idea of, and you should watch NXT Portland. And they were like, well, we have to dedicate some of that time to Worlds Collide. And so there wasn't so what I'm saying is, I feel like going into it, there wasn't as clear a story being told. Like Rhea Ripley, for example, is kind of sort of feuding with Bianca Belair, and she was feuding with Toni Storm.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it all kind of got mashed together, and there wasn't a clear, road to your big story, your big event.
Maybe that's why I'm comparing it to, a Saudi show, where, they are, the next big WWE show is, the next pay-per-view, but, we also have this Saudi show that's going to have big matches on it, and we want you to watch that, too. It feels sort of like that, because it's, I don't know why I'm rooting for the Undisputed Era against Imperium. It just feels like, they've got 4 guys, we've got 4 guys, make them fight.
Right.
And it was a great match, don't get me wrong, but it was like, why? Suddenly we have this brand loyalty garbage again. We're going to do this twice a year now with this fake brand loyalty out of nowhere, where we put our differences aside because we wear the same color shirt. I just don't know.
It worked a little bit better here, though, Sheep. I gotta say, I wasn't convinced at all when it came to Survivor Series and different things like that. I just don't buy the brand loyalty, people showing up and, jumping each other on each other's shows. This one seemed a little bit more organic with the Undisputed Era attacking Imperium. But I don't know. Like I said, I think it was overall a great show. But, it was just a 2-match show with a lot of goodness around it. That's how I'll frame it.
It was like a really good TV show. It was a really good TV wrestling.
Yes.
It's funny? It reminds me of, back in the 90s where people would kind of fantasy book WCW versus WWF. What if there was Sting and The Undertaker? What if it was Flair and Hogan? Okay, that didn't work out so well. But what if, and people would just take whoever was the top guys in WCW at that time and put them with the WWF guys, and that kind of with no story behind it. It was just let's just do a super card, and that's kind of what this feels like, except nobody's at that level,
and nobody watches NXT UK, so who cares?
Yeah,
Is
I don't know.
Still on?
Yes, and I tried to watch it leading up to Blackpool, but I don't have that kind of time. People, and Chris Bailey's been trying to get me to watch NWA Power for the last year, and I was like,
"It's good. It is good." Stop.
I have to not parent my children to try to get time to watch The Witcher. I don't have time for fucking NWA Power. All right, let's kick this football in the air here and start the game. In our first televised match for this event, Finn Balor defeated Ilya Dragunov, or as I like to call him, Ivan Drago. 13 minutes, 10 seconds. Chris Bailey. I thought this was a good kind of Tito Santana opening WrestleMania type show. Two guys who can go pretty solid, pretty snug, put on a fine match. They weren't diving out of the ring left and right. They kept it fairly self-contained. Finn Balor, once again, always a star, always puts on a good performance. Dragunov, I liked his feud he had with Alexander Wolf. I thought he did pretty good here. I thought he, stood out a little bit. I'd like to see him maybe get it, a little bit more of a rub on some of the other shows. Give him some shine elsewhere. But other than that, just a kind of a good way to kick off this super show, in quotes. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? So first of all, you're starting out with Finn Balor, who's just coming off his NXT run. So, he's transformed after his run-in with The Fiend. So that's a little bit of a theme that we haven't really explored yet. So, anyone who fights the theme is instantly changed. You know what I mean? So Finn Balor is now going through his semi-heel turn, soft heel turn, we'll call it. And he's sort of a good guy here. So, because we're in Houston, of course, all the fans are instantly liking NXT US, you know what I mean? And they're sort of putting the boo-boo face on for NXT UK. So Balor, of course, he's instantly over. He's using a little bit of threads from his Bullet Club gimmick. He's coming out and doing the double pistols and different things like that. I thought very serviceable match. Showcased both of their talents. This Dragunov guy, man. I don't know what it is. Is he wearing contacts or something? Like, he got a really, really ridiculous look to this guy. Like, in a good way, I'm talking now. Really, really good showcase. They're like different versions of each other. He's like the Russian Finn Balor. Like, they come off as almost like the same wrestler, and they really gel well together. Usually when styles are very similar, like, it doesn't equal a good match. But this thing was very serviceable. And, man, Finn Balor's 1916 DDT / Brainbuster. I just love it. It harkens back to, days when Coco Beware used to drop the Brooklyn Brawler on his head with the Ghostbuster. I mean, it actually looks like a friggin'
impact.
Yeah, it actually, works. And Impact was the way I'll say this. I mean, even the Sling Blade, the move that I put down every single time that I get a chance. I mean, he put some stink on a lot of his moves. You know what I mean? Really, really impactful. I really, really liked the match. It was, it didn't set the world on fire, but it was very good. Good style and good ending, man. Finn Balor for the win.
All right, give it to me, Sheehan.
I think it's really cool to see Balor motivated. Not that he, phones it in necessarily, but it just felt like he's been going maybe like in a gear lower than he usually should or usually can of late. Where here he just it was all cylinders. One thing about this Dragunov, is that his name? Dragunov?
Sure.
Can we all chip in and get him a mask? Oh my God, the facials on this dude. It's like I'm watching like a 7th grade production or something. What is with these faces he's making?
He looks like he's passing a small child through his ass.
Yeah, it's like he's got a Q-tip shoved up or something. I don't know what is going on with this dude's face. I have never watched a Kenny Omega match in my life, but I always hear people complaining about the facials that he makes, like he's either seizing or constipated or whatever.
If you listen to any of the Jim Cornette podcasts, the term you're looking for is jazz hands.
Okay, that's probably where I heard some complaints about Omega's facials, but I couldn't imagine them being any worse than this Dragon guy, Dragunov. Even when he just came out and he did that weird roaring lion bullshit pose on the stage, it's like, what am I looking at here? Like, put a hood on this kid, because it's just way over the top. I just couldn't take him seriously, just by how theatric he was trying to make this. The action was great. I figured Finn was going to win this, but my main takeaway, unfortunately, is cover this dude's face.
All right, just to kind of round this out real quick. Again, I thought I didn't think his faces were that bad. Maybe I'm not noticing. I like what we're getting with Finn Balor, and Bailey kind of touched on this. This is Prince Devitt, basically, is what all the kids tell me. This is
Bingo.
This is the Prince Devitt iteration of Finn Balor. Like, all right, enough of this face demon shit that I've been doing. This is Prince Devitt is what got him over. It's what got him noticed, and this is what he's trying to invoke now as part, as Finn Balor, and he's kind of, he's kicked Johnny Gargano in the head. He's kicked Adam Cole in the head. So he's out for himself, and I think they just needed a solid. They had to fill up the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, and so they decided, well, we're going to do this Worlds Collide show, and we need all the heavy hitters, and this pretty much had them. This had the top of the top, pretty much, that they could get on this card for NXT, and the top of the top in NXT UK, from what I could tell. So, solid way to start it off. And then we had our four-way. This was a four-way match for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, 12 minutes long, thank God. This was Jordan Devlin, Angel Garza, who came in as the champ, Isaiah Swerve Scott, who every time he comes on NXT on Wednesday night, I just fast forward, and Travis Banks, who I have no idea who he was because I don't watch enough NXT UK. I try. Damn it, I try. But Jordan Devlin, who just came off a great match with the immortal Tyler Bate. Didn't win that one, but he apparently put on enough of a clinic in that match and has enough faith behind him from the powers that be that they threw the belt on him in this one. As if you're into, as it's called, the video game style, half a lucha, everyone dives out of the ring 67 times kind of a match, this was the match for you. This was cruiserweight by the numbers. It was perfectly fine. Every time I say fine, a little bit of Chris Bailey dies. As he likes to interpret my fine as it's the drizzling shit. It's just fine. I can't give it any more praise than that. It was a lot of the smaller guys flipping and flying all over the place. It wasn't nearly as offensive as the average Young Bucks or Private Party type kind of match. Go ahead, Bailey.
Boy, oh boy. Lots of stuff going on in this one. I didn't care basically anything about anything that happened in this match. Jordan Devlin winning was obviously a big win. But, this seemed like AEW all over the place here. Lots of flips and flops. Angel Garza as the champion. I really don't know why they took the belt off him so fast. But anyway, that's another story, I guess. I don't know if he's injured because he came out with all this that tape, that supports an injury. So I don't know if there's something going on there with that guy. Isaiah Swerve Scott is an interesting choice to put the belt on. Let's put it that way. Travis Banks is basically not Travis. Jordan Devlin won, I should say. Jordan Devlin is interesting because he just came off a big loss with Tyler Bate on the last show, the last NXT show. So, it's a little bit of a unusual ending to this one. I don't know. I really enjoyed the match, though, overall. But, like I said, it does nothing for me. I don't remember any of the moves after it was said and done. It was just there, man.
Go ahead, Chris.
And part of me did die over and over.
This felt a whole lot like those opening matches on Nitro back in the day, where it was just you put a bunch of cruisers in the ring, have them jump on top of each other, and roll around and do the circus act. But one thing I'm very happy that the WWE, they're raiding the old TNA staff. They brought in Jeff Jarrett, they got AJ Styles, they got Samoa Joe, and they even got the guy who designed AJ Styles' Jizz T-shirt to do the Isaiah Swerve Scott T-shirt. What is with that T-shirt? It's really bad. But the match was all right. I hate seeing Garza lose. I like Garza a lot. I couldn't tell you who won it. Who was Banks? Devlin? One of them won it?
Yeah,
but,
Devlin won.
Devlin not won it.
Okay, so Devlin won it. Yeah, it was a match. I would have liked to see Garza hold the belt longer, but what are you gonna do?
Just as an aside, there are people who like this sort of thing. I don't think for us it's meh. The stuff that comes later, in fact, we're going to talk about it now, is my as far as style, my preference for wrestling. But there are people who, there were people who were chanting "This is awesome" during that match, and they like guys flipping and flying all over the fucking place. So it's I don't want to be too critical of it because, as Brian last said, it's kind of the coin of the realm at this point. It's just not for me. DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, who are reunited, and it feels so good, defeated the reunited Mustache Mountain of Trent Seven, he's fat, and Tyler Bate.
He wasn't always fat, though, was he? I could have sworn he was a lot thinner, like the last time I saw him. Or am I thinking of the wrong NXT
He was
UK
always
guy?
Cassius Ohno fat.
He was, okay. Then maybe I'm thinking of the wrong NXT UK guy.
We established, talking about the NXT UK Blackpool 2 show, that Tyler Bate is like turn-of-the-century strongman strong. Like, he honestly needs the vaudevillains, like, get-up. Like, he needs a leopard print singlet. This was great. You know, DIY kicked ass when they were together originally, and they had that big, long, ridiculous Roadrunner and Coyote feud. Then they were outdone in the ridiculous department by Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, but we've already discussed that. I didn't watch the NXT UK when Mustache Mountain were having their initial run, but, you know, it's two fan-favorite teams going at it, and what can one say? This was brutal. This was stiff. All four of these guys know how to put together a tag team match, and the home team favorites won the match. Bailey, what can you say?
Oh no, absolutely fantastic match on this one. So I mean, you had Mustache Mountain, who actually were probably the most over of the NXT UK people. They actually got an applause where the other folks, didn't have much of a reaction with the Houston crowd. You know what I mean? Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. I mean, how many times do you get to put them together? You know, I kept thinking in the back of my head, oh my God, Ciampa's going to turn on him or Gargano's going to turn on him. You know what I mean? It was unsettling, but I mean, they look great as a tag team coming into this one. When you're talking about Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, Tyler Bate is possibly the best wrestler in NXT right now. Probably my favorite. He's got the strength. He's got the ability to do the lucha stuff. He can do it all, basically. And he showcased it here. Interesting little thing at the end of this one, though. They hit the what's called the Birminghammer. And they got an extremely long 2 count on Ciampa, to the point where I thought the ref had screwed up the finish. But no, really, really strong. DIY wins in this one. But what's funny is that they finish him off with their tandem super kick. And they're after kicking out of like a million different other like high impact move, and 2 super kicks finish them for the 3, which is a little bit weak. But I had no problem with this one. Probably my favorite match on the entire show and of the weekend for sure. Yeah,
it's the second longest match on the show, and clearly, it coming in right smack in the middle. It was 4 out of 5 matches. I'm sorry, it was in the third spot out of 5 matches. This was kind of, without being the main event, this was, when you say it's a 2-match show, this was the other match. And I think for a lot of fans, it was like, if they had just ended with DIY versus Mustache Mountain, people would have went home happy. What'd you think of this one, Sheehan?
It's not often I get lost in a match, but I got lost in this match. This was a fantastic match. Didn't want it to end. I thought it was a whole lot of fun. I don't know a whole lot. Apparently, I don't know who Trent Seven is, so I don't know. I guess I haven't watched many of Mustache Mountain's matches. Did they ever just have mustaches, or did they always have beards? I mean, they had a little. Well, they had the twisty mustaches for a long time, but the beard is sort of new. Okay, so that, because I'm watching and I'm like, why are they called that if they have full beards? I don't know, but I mean, everybody on the damn show has a mustache if you count beards. But I thought it was just a fantastic match. It could have went either way, which is like you said, you thought that the ref might have messed up that 3 count there. Best kind of match where you can lose yourself and it doesn't even matter who wins because you're just having such a good time watching it. It was probably my match of the show, if not match of the weekend.
All right, so this next one's a little controversial. And only because I know from the circles that I travel in, people were like, this was not a great match. And I'm going to defend it by saying it's exactly what Rhea Ripley needed. She needed to have a quick feud with somebody who's got wins over her, which Toni Storm does, and I know that because they did a whole promo on it. Hey, remember when I beat you? Hey? Remember when I beat you again? It's just a little drama.
You're exactly right. So basically, the only thing that they're doing in this match, Mark, is building a highlight reel.
Yeah.
So this is just another piece of footage that they're going to use to show another win when they build up the match for WrestleMania that you spoke of a little bit earlier. You can drop that information very shortly if you wish with Mr. Meltzer.
Yes, I'll get to it. But Rhea Ripley has Bianca Belair coming up in Portland, which I feel like they did this already, but I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch. And either way, they need to, if they're, well, fuck it, I'll say it now. If they're really building up to Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte at WrestleMania, and then the other, the A side to that is Becky versus Shayna Baszler, and then, Bayley versus a bottle of Prozac. Nothing? All right. Thank you.
Oh, no, that's good. I was on mute for the first part of my laugh.
Thank you. Hey, no muting. I need laughter. I need interaction here. So anyway, if that's where they're going, they need to build these people up. They need to give them wins. They need to give them, matches where the person they're beating can afford to take the loss. And in this case, Toni Storm, I guess she had the NXT UK Women's title for a little bit there, and I think she dropped it to Kaylee Ray.
Because she beat Rhea for it. Toni beat Rhea because Rhea was the first UK champion.
Okay, so they're building off that. So this match gave Rhea Ripley a chance to get her win back and to give her some momentum going into Bianca. She'll beat Bianca in Portland, and that'll give her momentum going into WrestleMania against Charlotte. I'm okay with all of this. Here's the problem with this match. It's a little clunky. Toni Storm is a pretty gal. I kind of call her, British biker Barbie, or British biker version of Candice LeRae. And I keep making that joke that she's she's on my short list of women who I want to wrestle in Saudi Arabia just so we can have a blonde versus a nondescript blonde versus nondescript blonde match again, because I thought that vision that was hilarious to me. In any case, my stupidity aside, Rhea Ripley's a great wrestler. Toni Storm's just fine, she's perfectly adequate, and for some odd reason, this did not click very well. The result was good, and I think Rhea Ripley needs as much time in the ring with good competition as possible. But for some odd reason, this never really got out of first gear, and it didn't make either of them look great. What do you think, Bailey?
Oh boy, are you right? So myself and Sheehan had a chance to. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, myself and Sheehan had a chance to talk about this one a little bit earlier in not so glowing terms. So Rhea Ripley. So you're saying Rhea Ripley's a good wrestler, she's the champ and all that type of stuff. I think Rhea Ripley is a good wrestler when she's facing someone who can actually go with her, and Toni Storm was not that person. So this match really dragged, I think, and I think it really took the shine off Rhea Ripley, to be quite honest with you. So I think this one in the end is just going to end up as a highlight package. It's just fodder to build up her match with Charlotte later on at WrestleMania. And, they had a little bit of history in this one. I mean, Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley had fought over the Women's Championship before. Well, the UK one anyway. So, it was nice to see a little bit of back history on this one. As for the match itself, I mean, there was really nothing to it. I mean, a lot of very slow exchanges, a lot of fakey looking, I don't know, transitions. I just didn't really like it. And, she even hit the Riptide as her finisher, which she hasn't been using for a little while. She's been using that submission hanging figure four type of thing for a long time. And, it was 10 minutes long. You know what I mean? So I don't know really what to think of Toni Storm. I mean, she's got a pretty decent gimmick. Like Mark says, she could ride a motorbike to the ring, but pretty nondescript. She's Candice LeRae with biker gear on, basically. but she
Yeah.
doesn't look like she's from a dollar store, so that's a good
And
thing.
some eye black. Yeah.
Now Sheehan, and I'll transition over to you. Sheehan thinks that Rhea Ripley resembles a certain other UK star.
I do. When I saw her Titantron, I said, "Hey, Pete Dunne got a haircut."
Oh
It's true. I don't care what you say, Mark.
no, Rhea
She has a
Ripley.
thick labia and
Yeah.
possibly a penis.
The
I wouldn't go
future
that far.
the future ex Mrs. Rattledge. How dare you, sir?
Oh, I thought she was
Have
a
you-
little potato man for a minute. I
I'm
didn't.
going to put you on the spot, Mark. Have you seen One Night in China? Admit it. Admit it. You
know,
have,
she,
haven't
She also was the She-Hulk in another porn she did.
Anyway.
Yes. Anyway,
It looks like, as Sheehan said, a small carrot that had a gash in it. This is the kind of analysis you get here on this podcast, sir.
so the match. So I didn't buy this as a title match. I didn't care about it as a title match. I thought that they should have used this time a little bit better to keep building to the Belair match. Maybe do like a can you top this sort of thing with them. WWE wastes moments all the time. Why didn't they just put them in like a tag match? Throw Rhea and somebody against Bianca and Io Shirai or something. This just didn't feel like it was a necessary match. And it was just they have 2 or 3 weeks before the Portland show. We got to get a match on here, so do it. And she's from the UK brand, so chuck them together. I didn't care.
They had in a dark match, which I'm sure will end up on NXT UK this week, Kaylee Ray versus Mia Yim. They could have done Rhea Ripley and Mia Yim versus Kaylee Ray and Toni Storm. And
Sure.
kind of played up that, Kaylee Ray and Toni Storm, they don't get along. They just had a match that, not that long ago, blah, blah, yakety schmackety.
Just something, because this just the fact that it was a title match and it just came. I mean, we built up this like battle royal on NXT TV over the past few weeks that Bianca won, and then it's like, well, but you're not going to get the match first. We're going to give it to this one for reasons, and I just didn't. It just didn't really work for me.
I think the other problem is, I just feel like if as a competitor, as a wrestler, as an entertainer, you need to show some degree of passion for what you're doing. And Toni Storm kind of delivering this flat blah promo of, remember when I beat you? Remember when I beat you again? Like, is that supposed to be funny? Because I get like the language she's using, the verbiage, I get where I get where she's going with it, but her delivery is so bleh that like it doesn't come off as like that should be smarmy. And I'm sorry, Biker Barbie doesn't come off as smarmy.
No, it's very
No,
lackadaisical, just very dispassionate. Yeah, passion is the right word. It was very dispassionate, very dismissive, and just like, well, I guess we're going to have a match now. And they did.
Like, imagine that coming out of Bianca's face.
Oh, God.
Like,
no,
she's just waving her hair in a circle. She's like, remember when I beat you? Huh, sugar? Like, I don't know why I'm doing, like, she's set from the 70s, but...
That sounded very Foxy Brown.
Yes, that's what I was going for. Thank you, Bailey. Good gold star. All right, moving this along. We have our why, because there's 4 people, that's why, match. We have Imperium versus the Undisputed Era in an 8-man tag. And the story of this one was they took out the wink link of the bunch, Alexander Wolf, so that there would be a 4-on-3 disadvantage. And then they had a match with all of these great guys. I have come so far with Kyle O'Reilly. He has got to be the most nondescript, awesome wrestler I've ever seen. He has zero gimmick going on. There's nothing about. I couldn't pick Kyle O'Reilly out of a goddamn lineup if he like shot one of my children in the kneecap. But
Oh, boy.
but there's something about him when he comes to the ring, like air guitaring his belt, and there's like he's the exact opposite of the way you described Dragunov, Sheehan. In that, like,
they both need masks, though.
I love his facials. He has I love Kyle O'Reilly's facials. I think he takes a bump, he takes a hit, and he just makes the most awesome faces. He sells so funny. Like, I love watching Kyle O'Reilly wrestle now. And everybody else in the Undisputed Era is just amazing. And on the other side of that, Barthel and Eichner, I think, work really, really well together. They accent Walter, who's a fucking beast. And it annoys the shit out of me that we didn't get a Walter Brock Lesnar face-off in the Royal Rumble. More on that a little bit later. Either way, the story of this is the Walter show, and it was the 3-on-4, and they had to, Imperium had to fight from underneath and make up for the disadvantage that they had. And in the end, Walter looked like an absolute stone cold killer, and Imperium won the match. Chris Bailey.
100% right. So you have a mission in this one. So the Undisputed Era is already over in the U.S., so you didn't really have to do any work. I mean, they're all over the Adam Cole Bebe and the whole, their whole shtick. It looked pretty funny with everybody wearing belts except for Roddy. I mean, they could have kept the belts on them just to have everyone wearing the gold in this match against Imperium, just to have perceived stakes in this one. But this is another example. Like, Walter is over with this crowd. I mean, they had a good Walter chant going on and all that stuff. And it's funny that they went with a disadvantage. So, I mean, they really wanted to put over Imperium in this one, and they did a really good job. I mean, you talked about Ackner and Bartel. I mean, these guys are really, really strong. They haven't shown any personality yet, outside of being a staunch professional wrestler. You know what I mean? And they're trying to bury the little bit of history we knew about Alexander Wolf. So, they've got an interesting setup here to get Imperium over. And I don't think they're officially over, but after this one, I think they did the Lord's work and put these guys over. So Walter looked like an absolute and utter murderer. And, I mean, he destroyed Fish at the end with a power bomb, which is really good. But, I mean, this one was just a series of really strong tag team wrestling. It's a great example of what you don't have to do. So if you looked at an AEW show, it's a lot of flips and gimmicks and all that stuff. These guys wrestled and it worked. You know what I mean? They had a couple of their flips and gimmicks and all that stuff, but it was just traditional tag team work, very stiff, like slaps and all that stuff. Good Lord, those slaps from Walter are unbelievable. But, it was a half-hour match. I really don't like 8-man tags, but this one won me over, man. I just felt that there was, something on the line here when really there wasn't. So, I mean, that showed me that this match did its job, man. I really, 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 really liked it, I got to say. And having Imperium win was the right decision after a half hour of an 8-man tag.
The other side of that is, I think, they had, Jordan Devlin, who won the Cruiserweight one, but Mustache Mountain lost. Tony Storm lost. The NXT, if you don't want to totally bury the brand. So NXT UK had to have a big win, and they got the biggest win in the main event. Wrap us up here, Sheehan, and we'll move on to the Royal Rumble.
It was the Walter show, like you guys said. It's weird. I'm of two minds here. I'm glad that Imperium won because it did help. It did help to establish them as as dominant. But are they sticking around on the main show, or are they going to be flitting back over to the network to a show I'm not going to watch? I just don't know. And that's all on me, of course. But I would be more excited if I knew that they were going to be on the main show and they would stick around and just beat ass on Wednesday nights. I just don't know that that's the case, though.
It depends on. I mean, I think the NXT UK show. Sorry, the NXT show in Tampa has to be headlined by Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa. They have to do that match at some point, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the main event is going to be for Portland. Right now, it's Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. And the other one is probably going to be a return match with, what's-his-face there?
Keith Lee and Roddy?
Yeah, Roderick Strong. And then the other one is Gargano and Finn Balor.
Yeah.
So, you've got 3 solid matches right there, and then, I already said Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. Which I don't know what that leaves for Adam Cole and company to do. I don't know what that leaves for Tommaso Ciampa to do. Maybe they do a 6-man, and maybe they do something else. Who knows? But either way, in Tampa, they got to do Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa. So maybe this isn't done yet. Now that we're done with the Royal, now that we're done with the Royal Rumble and we're done with Worlds Collide, why not keep the feud with Imperium and the Undisputed Era going? Maybe do Walter versus Adam Cole, baby, in Portland.
Yeah, do a champion versus champion, but not belt versus belt sort of gimmick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or why not?
Either way, yeah. Right?
That never works out well. You go belt versus belt, and all of a sudden, one brand suffers because one of their champions now owns two belts, and then you go to a god-awful tournament or a battle royal or something to decide who wins. And guys, I don't want to see another tournament. Let's be honest.
Listen to me. You listen to me now. Adam Cole, Survivor Series weekend, wrestled 900 times. Okay? Adam Cole.
Before breakfast.
Yes. When was Adam Cole not wrestling? Or, when was he not falling 20 feet from a high precipice into a tiny drinking glass? They beat the living shit out of Adam Cole, and he kept going. And I think he had like a broken wrist at the time. So I say, put the NXT UK belt on Adam Cole, and just let him, then the Universal title, and then the WWE title. Fuck it. Put the women's titles on him. Just drape him in gold. Make him look like the Ultimo Dragon.
Oh, I love that.
Remember that picture?
I agree. 100%.
Adam Cole, baby! And he's just drenched in gold.
Someone will have to tell Vince that they don't have the Concorde anymore, so they can't fly Adam Cole back over to the UK every single night.
But I'd be all about either a 6-man with Imperium again, or just Adam Cole versus Walter. I think that'd be fun.
I think there's money in that match, definitely.
Yeah, they need to do something.
For sure.
So we move over to the Royal Rumble now, coming to you live from Minute Maid Park, where the Astros play, I believe. And we kicked off the evening. We had 2 pre-show matches. We had Sheamus versus Chad Gable. I'm not calling him by his stupid name. And then we had Andrade, who right before he would test positive and get kicked off TV for 30 days for violating wellness, defeated Humberto Carrillo. They were matches. They were fine. Sheamus and Chad Gable worked fine together. I've seen Andrade versus Carrillo 900 times, or maybe I haven't, because every time they put that match on, I look elsewhere. But it was whatever. They were opening matches. Bailey.
Yeah, you know what? The only one that I'd see was the Shorty G match. That was absolutely worthless. Oh, sorry. Chad Gable, sorry.
His grandfather, his sainted grandfather, his first name was Shorty. He was named after him. Show some respect.
Perfect. Okay. You're right. Here I am being disrespectful to short people. What a disaster. No, I did not see the other one with Andrade, but the Shorty G match was a toss-away piece of garbage, and that's exactly what you should have on a pre-show, by the way. Then again, if you were trying to sell a pay-per-view like they did back in the day, trying to squeeze $50, that is exactly not what you want to put on a pre-show. So there you go.
A free-for-all, yeah.
So we kicked off the pay-per-view proper with Sheehan, did you want to add anything to this?
I had the same problem with the WWE Network that I've had for, how long has the network been around here? 6 years? When I try to watch a pay-per-view and I start it like 30 minutes late so I get to skip all the bullshit recaps, it says, would you like to play this live or would you like to go to the beginning? And I always click go to the beginning, but it always puts me live. So then I have to rewind it. And then I'm seeing stuff I don't want to see yet, and then I didn't 100%. Even bother. It's like you get to the end, the beginning, actually, of the show, and if you go 1 second past that, you go to the beginning of the show that preceded it. So it went to TLC.
We'll get this.
It went to TLC 2019. It's like, I don't want to watch that.
I pressed for the last one we just talked about with not Takeover, but Worlds Collide. I did the exact thing you're talking about, and it's a flaw with the network. I literally pressed play from the beginning, and all of a sudden it showed Imperium winning. Yep. I was like, what? I just ruined the main event in one click.
Yeah, because when I said play it, go from the beginning, I see Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair wrestling. I'm like, come on. So,
I I have a slightly different problem with the network. It never remembers who I am. Like,
it signs me out constantly.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't
yeah.
I don't know if I just not watch the network enough because I tend to just watch the big events now. But I just watched Blackpool not that long ago. But I went to sign in to watch Worlds Collide Sunday morning after it aired because the previous night I was doing boxing coverage, and it was like, oh, you need to sign in, and I'm like, this has only been since the update. This new update sucks diddly ucks.
Terrible.
It is awful.
Can I share a Canadian story?
By all means,
I hope you do.
Okay, good. I like doing the U.S. to Canadian travesty comparisons, but this time you guys get to win. Usually, I compare Canada to U.S. and I say, "Oh, what we have here in Canada is much better," but not in this case. but anyway, so we have a. I say we, the app that we use on our devices, whatever device you use to get the WWE Network, is an actual app. You know what I mean? You click on it, it works. You may have to sign in, you may not. Blah 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 blah. You've got all these features. You got the entire back catalog and all that stuff. In Canada, the WWE Network is an actual channel on your regular cable box that you have. It's not an app, and it features substantially less content than the U.S. version. So you might say, well, Chris, how are you pirating the WWE Network in Canada? Well, I'm glad you asked. So one time I was on vacation in Florida, and I went. I wanted to see WrestleMania, of course. Of course I did. So, during my Disney vacation, I just said, okay, don't bother me on Sunday, kids. I'm watching WrestleMania all day, locked in my condo. So I went and purchased a Roku, downloaded the U.S. WWE Network app, and it worked. Of course it did. It was in the U.S., made up a... I'm not going to get into my secrets, but anyway, I got it to work. And anyway, I tossed it in my bag, and I didn't think it was going to work when I thought I was going to get the old regionally blocked error. All of a sudden, I plug it in Canada, and it's worked. It's worked ever since. And I've got all the content that you guys get, and I share the exact same torture and problems you have, but WWE in Canada, WWE Network in Canada is just a channel.
Garbage.
Hot garbage. I didn't say it was a great story. I just said it was a story. So there you go. Continue.
It definitely was a story. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. Speaking of beginning, middles, and ends, Roman Reigns, because we haven't got enough of this feud. So let me tell you how I had 9 weeks of fucking SmackDown DVR'd that I was behind on, and I kind of wanted to see like what led up at least to the Royal Rumble. I wanted to see. There was a part of me that wanted to see the dog food thing. So my wife, who had to put up with me tonight singing "Toss a Coin to the Witcher" because I've been watching that lately, and that song stuck in my head. To the point where, like, I said, "Hey, do you want? I'm gonna go get some cookies from the cupboard. Do you want some?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, well, you got to put your hand out, though." She's like, "I don't want to do this game. Knock it off. Just hand me the fucking cookie already." And I'm like, "No, you need to tell me that you're a Witcher first." She's like, "Ugh." And so she just holds her hand out because she doesn't truck with my nonsense. And I was just like, "I'm tossing a coin to the Witcher." Eh? Well,
she doesn't get paid enough to be your wife, bro.
Not
she doesn't.
nearly enough. What a disaster she signed up for. Anyway, so speaking of which...
She's a hostage. Free her, people.
So she's sitting on the couch watching the Royal Rumble with me, and they're showing clips of everything that led up to Roman Reigns versus King Corbin in this Falls Count Anywhere match, which we will talk about in just a second. But I gotta tell, I had to explain to her like how we got here because if I'm not paying any attention, God knows she wasn't. So even though I ended up deleting all 9 weeks of SmackDown because I'm fucking not watching all this. It was hard enough keeping up with NXT and AEW. I told her because I knew basically what had happened that they had chained, and they showed clips of it, that they chained Roman Reigns up and then dumped dog food on his head. And I'm on my hands and knees in her face going, "Get it? He's the big dog. This is his yard."
Wait, that's why they did it?
Get it?
Oh my goodness.
He's a dog in a yard.
Dog food.
So dogs eat dog food. I'm actually putting my hands out now, so I'm back on my hands and knees in her face doing this. I don't know why she didn't call the police and threaten like she was getting domestically violated, but because I would have. But I'm just, and I did this for a good 10 minutes, and she's just looking at me like you are the world's biggest asshole.
She's got a point.
Get it? Dog food. Get it? I'm so I'm like my face hurts. I'm smiling so hard right now. Anyway, so the only way to save this feud and really this whole match was to let it just be Pandelirium, and it kind of was.
This was trash. Let's just say it. Let's call a spade here.
They went all over the fucking place. The what do you call it? Bobby Roode and Ziggler came out. The Usos fucking came out. At one point, it was raining Usos with the cats and the dogs. I mean, it's what
mass hysteria.
Yes, it's what you want a match like this to be. And you know, the right guy won. Love him or hate him or have no opinion on him. You know, he's still one of their big main eventers. He's still one of their big stars, Roman Reigns. And he's taken a lot of lumps in this feud with Corbin, who's gotten a lot in the past 2 years. I mean, between the Raw GM stuff and then the feud with Seth Rollins and then coming over to SmackDown, winning King of the Ring and this whole thing, like, he's basically he's one of their top heels. And I know he has, like, X-Pac heat with people, but you got to give him this, man. King Corbin is his true heel in the truest sense of the word. Nobody likes this guy. He has no cool heat at all. Like this is like he is like the antithesis of like a Kevin Nash, who was too cool for school, and it was hard to hate him because he had so much charisma. Like King Corbin is a black hole of charisma, and I think purposefully so.
The vortex of charisma.
You know, like his whole job is to get you to hate him and to make you sympathize with the babyface. And it kind of works because I kind of want Roman Reigns to kill him and then walk off into the woods to live deliberately because I hate Roman Reigns too. But if this is what I've kind of gotten to a point where it's hard to get really emotional about this stuff. So it's like, okay, Roman Reigns is the top guy. Whatever, you win. Stop hitting me. King Corbin is your top heel. All right, I get it. Stop hitting me. And it was a match, and it worked. It was fine. Yay, Bailey.
Okay, so this thing went 23 minutes basically. 23 minutes of Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin. Let's put that in perspective. Number one, they threw everything but the kitchen sink at this one. They brought out Ziggler. They brought out Robert Roode just coming off a bout with Ico Pro. They
You gotta want it.
You gotta want it. Ico Pro, damn it. Anyway, we saw super punches, but then they did one of my favorite scenes. They threw in the joke that is ageless. They put Corbin in a portable bathroom
In the turlet.
and they in the turlet, and they tipped him over while he was in it, and they didn't do what I expected them to do and have him come out and have turds on him or covered in
I don't know
shit
if they bothered to lock the door.
No, it just sort of fell open. So it's sort of like nothing fell out on him. He didn't have, like, when you're locked in there, it's the time to smear yourself with some stuff. And they didn't.
Right.
They didn't go there. It would have been
No
funny
pudding.
to see after they did the whole thing with Roman Reigns smearing dog food in his hair. I mean, they really buried this guy in dog food.
Wait,
on
did you say
SmackDown.
dog food? Get it? Because he's the big dog? Get
It's
it?
his yard. It's his yard.
It's his
Of course
yard.
he smeared dog food. Get it?
Get it?
So anyway,
I just want a T-shirt now that says "Get it." I need like a can.
sense.
I need a can of
Go ahead.
dog food, and it just says "Get it" on the label. Sorry, please continue.
Wouldn't it make sense for the tip this bathroom over and then he smeared in feces? Would that not be the right thing to do here?
Look,
But no,
this is a
after
classy show, man. Okay.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Oh my God, forgive my misgivings here. And then they did a good job of battling around this arena. I mean, this thing, the whole arena looked huge. I mean, they seemed to go everywhere. They went up and down the stairs. They threw themselves through some stuff, and they finished on the roof of a dugout. Where he got a Superman punch and a spear. I'm getting sick of the spear, by the way. And we saw about 500 of them when Old Man Surprise came out a little bit later on.
We saw about half of them.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Yes, because the cameraman, unfortunately, caught this spear on camera. Sheehan.
Yes, Kevin Dunn needs to stop doing meth before the shows.
Oh my God, this was like classic WCW Goldberg versus DDP. It's a wonder they didn't cut the whole damn feed.
This canyon falling off the triple cage.
Yes, we'll just miss the entire stunt that this whole
almost
pay-per-view was
died?
built around. Yeah, we don't care. We need that crowd shot.
Hey, there were tits in the crowd. This was very important to us.
Anyway, over to you, Mr. Sheehan.
Well, you know how a few minutes ago I said that I had to rewind because it started me in the Women's Royal Rumble? It took me back to this match, unfortunately. And then I tried to fast forward through it, and it sent me back to TLC 2019. So I had to fast forward all the way through that, and then I tried fast forwarding through this match again, and it sent me back to TLC 2019. So I assume that this is just someone saying you need to watch this match, and so I did. It was
well said.
This Corbin, he has the go away heat, which makes me want to fast forward or change the channel or just do something else while he's on the screen. It doesn't make me want to see him get his ass kicked. It doesn't make me want to see him. I don't want to see him fall out a window. I don't want to see him hit with one of Johnny Gargano's cannons. I just don't want to see him. I want him gone. And so it's like there's really no impetus to seeing Roman Reigns, treat him like a punching bag, hit him with skatey 800 Superman punches and spears. It just sucked. And
does that Superman punch just get weaker every time you see it?
Every damn time. And no matter how many times he cocks his damn forearm, it doesn't do it for me. But then, the thing of it is I'm watching this, and it's like, and these two men are going to do double duty tonight. It's like, you're shitting me.
This is fantastic.
We
just got 23 minutes of these two assholes.
God damn it.
And we're guaranteed more. We're
going to be counting down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and it's going to be Baron fucking Corbin's music playing. That's what we want to hear. It was what it was. I guess the right guy won, but not a way to start off a show, I think.
The Women's Royal Rumble was next, went almost an hour, and let me just cut to the end here, and then we'll go back. You ever see a grown man cry? Because I did. I cried out. On my hands and knees, next to my daughter and my wife. I let my daughter stay up to watch the Royal Rumble, and she had questions, lots of questions. Just my hands in the air, knees on the ground, looking up at the sky going, why? You have so much, Charlotte. Why?
Yeah, they really didn't need to do this.
However, all was not lost, and this wasn't terrible. Molly Holly was one of the highlights for me, and I know she, A, didn't last long, B, who gives a shit. But that is a woman who sells that gimmick, man, as stupid as it is. I've always, the gal who plays Molly Holly, I just always think she just does a great job, and I could watch her wrestle 5-minute matches all year long.
Me too.
Anyway, Bianca Belair, I mean, you talk about your Rhea Ripley coming out of Survivor Series and how, the whole fall season ending with Survivor Series, Rhea Ripley just, she rode the rocket, man, to stardom, and she came out of War Games and Survivor Series looking like one of the biggest stars in the company. It was like, Becky when she turned heel and the crowd turned her face again because everyone hates Charlotte. Rhea Ripley has that kind of momentum right now if they know how to shape it right and what to do with it. But I'll tell you what, this was Bianca Belair's night. Like, if you didn't know who Bianca Belair was, now you do, and she looked like a fucking phenomenal superstar. She was the star of this Rumble.
She was the EST of NXT.
I don't know what that is, by the way. Like I
don't know either. I'm trying to act like I do.
she's like, I'm the EST of NXT. I'm like, establishment. I don't Eastern Standard Time.
Is this supposed to be like the biggest, baddest, bestest? Is that what the gimmick is?
She would have been better off than putting REY then and in her hair. Ray, she's the most...
Mysterio. Here we go.
Ray from Star Wars, she's the bestest everest. Get it? No?
Yes, she is. Shut your mouth.
Oh, that one went over my head.
Yeah, that's a me and Crystal fighting about Star Wars thing.
We will have this out one day. I will tell you that. It's coming.
Oh, Bailey, there's a line of my friends that I podcast with goes around the block who want to kick me in the balls the first chance they meet me. So let's just take a number.
Does that Picard show have anything to do with it?
Oh, Sheehan. You miss out on so much.
Old man Sheehan hanging out with Edge. Anyway, so the other thing, there were a lot of really fun appearances. There were some where I was like, I don't even know why they bothered. But they saved Shayna for the last. They had her throw. Bianca Belair eliminated 8 people, and she lasted a long time in this Rumble. Absolute star. Shayna Baszler came out at number 30. Was like the Brock Lesnar, she got the Diesel push. She threw out like another 8 people, and it came down to her and Charlotte. I wished her and Charlotte had a better interaction at the end, had a little bit more of a match. They kind of just did the spot on the ropes, and then she got stupid eliminated. So, I mean, she's going to go on to bigger and better things, and for whatever reason, they felt like Charlotte needed the Rumble win to tell the next chapter in the story. It was fine. It was definitely, again, it was an enjoyable Rumble. It had a lot of great spots in it, and an ending an ending I didn't care for, Bailey.
Oh, I got lots to say about this one. So I took some detailed notes on this one to cover the spots that we got to cover here. So great start with Alexa and Bianca. I mean, Alexa got that superstar pop. I mean, she's a megastar, man. People still like her despite her being pushed down as a tag team competitor. Bianca Belair, definitely, man. It was definitely her night, 100%. You got Molly Holly come out with an interesting little appearance there. She did, some of her signature moves, although she didn't hit her Molly go round, which was a disappointment. But if you haven't seen Molly Holly lately, she's got like that butchy short hair thing going on there. So I thought she was really decent. She hung on for a little while in this match, too. Right in the middle of this thing, we got Mercedes Martinez come out there. She's an up-and-coming star in the NXT, which people seem to like, and they really didn't do a heck of a lot with her. So then we had the Lana and Liv spot. Does anybody care about Lana and Lashley and Rusev? This is the worst thing in the WWE right now. I cannot stand it.
You are an insane person.
Oh,
Lana and Liv is the best thing going in WWE. What makes it is that Lana, apparently English not her first language.
She just
living the gimmick. Yeah,
she goes in and out of Russian when it's convenient.
Well, not only that, but she's forced into these now dramatic performances, and she has to do these long promos, and she's the worst. But
she's the best WW superstar. She said so.
Yes, exactly. The WWE superstar.
I learned this when she said that Rusev had to stay 50 feet, inches, meet.
Miles, days, years.
Parsecs.
Oh, man.
Knots.
So anyway, they had Lana and Liv, and they basically, both of them were eliminated with each other. So, they took each other out of the match, which is par for the course. Thank God they're gone. And out comes Mandy. Oh, good Lord. In that gold suit. You know what? I'm an old man, but I can still see the ladies. I'm telling you, and she looked good in that suit. And she shaves, by the way. Anyway. Yes, sir. That shit is clean. And then we had, speaking of clean and I don't care, out comes Dollar Store Candice LeRae with her $5 spandex suit that she wears she is just the most just plain Jane wrestling girl I've ever seen in my entire life. There's nothing. She's not particularly good looking. Her style is not particularly interesting.
Oh.
She happens to go out with Johnny Gargano, which I don't care about.
Okay,
and
she's his wife, I believe.
Yeah, she's just a spot filler. Like, it could literally be a cardboard cutout being rolled to the ring. It doesn't matter. That's how much I care less about Dollar Store Candice LeRae.
Listen, nobody, and you can't say this about any other person on the roster. She's the most Mrs. Gargano of all the women wrestlers.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
She also, you watch Schitt's Creek, right, Bailey?
Absolutely.
She reminds me a lot of Roland's wife. I don't know why.
Rolling shit. Put that in your pipe.
She reminds me a lot of
best
his
name in
wife.
TV.
I don't know why, but very just nondescript and just there.
Yes, definitely. So they had some interesting stuff going on with Mandy came in here. So you had Fire and Desire teaming up, and they eliminate Mercedes and all that stuff. And then they do a spot where Mandy gets thrown over the ropes, and out of nowhere she lands on Otis, who was seemingly lying on the floor for no particular reason to catch her, which was a unique spot. It made me laugh because I didn't see it coming. And I think there was a spot where Otis was supposed to catch both ladies and, I don't know, put both of them back in the ring, but he ended up falling down and everybody gets eliminated. Did that look like a blown spot to you guys?
Yeah, it totally looked like a botch.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
I thought that was what they were supposed to do there. I thought that was the then I thought that was the move. I don't know.
He did his job there. If that was a mistake, he did his job. Then you had Dana Brooke. Does anyone care?
No.
So she runs to the ring.
She's an underdog. God damn it.
Yes. Oh, yeah, she's an underdog. By the way. She runs to the ring, and she's got these Barbie doll hands going. Like, she looks like a ninja. She's going quick to the ring. And, of course, she's quick work, and she's done out of there. So Bianca's in the ring, and she's just wiping people out, tossing people out left and right. You got Chelsea Green come in out of nowhere, and Tamina, and they're both tossed easily. Out comes Big Charlotte. And then Naomi comes out. Now, have you seen Naomi lately, outside of this?
My wife loved Naomi.
What is different about Naomi, outside of there's no glow because they couldn't get the production to work to show her glow? They couldn't turn the lights off right in the middle of the Rumble and just have her glow.
Hey, say it loud, Chris Bailey. She's black and she's proud.
Yes, she's black and she's proud, and by God, you don't need to feel the glow. You can feel the fro, because she was all about it.
Hey,
I was saving that one up. That was in my caddy of jokes. By the way.
Don't you besmirch the good name of Naomi. Black is beautiful.
Man, she was. Listen, that girl is over for no reason whatsoever. That girl. I just don't get it. When I went to WrestleMania in Orlando. That was the return of the Hardy Boys 133.
Yeah, I was there too. That's funny.
And we occupied the same space and time. How weird. Anyway, she was over like a motherfucker on that one.
Yeah, she was.
I just couldn't understand it. But anyway, then
She's from Orlando, so it was like hometown heat.
Get it? Throw some dog food in her hair. I don't know. Anyway, then you had Glamazon come out. I mean, you know what? Beth Phoenix looks like she's been pickled from the mid-2000s, just sent to the ring. She looks exactly like she did previously.
I thought her brain was going to leak out of the back of her head.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So she received a nasty gash. How did that happen? Anyone know how she received that cut?
Was it Xia Li? Did she kick her in the head or something?
Good guess.
Do you mean Xia Li? Who came in at number 24? Oh, no, I'll bring that up after. She's a master of a certain thing. Anyway, I'll tell you about that in a second. So Glamazon comes out, and she gets busted open like Ric Flair back in the 90s, getting beaten by Dusty Rhodes. I mean, she was bleeding like a stuck pig. It was the back of her hair. She was like, it was horrible. It was a horrible injury. Anyway, finally, Bianca Belair gets tossed out by Charlotte. I was pissed with this. She was in there 33 minutes, 20 seconds. And who did they bring out right after that? Kelly. Yep.
Speaking of Barbie.
Speaking of trash, yeah, Barbie Blank. So she comes out, and she busts out the old face full of stuff, or the Rikishi, I should say, on Toni Storm. So she gets up close and personal with Kelly's ass.
Okay, so I had to explain that to my daughter, by the way.
Oh, my God.
My daughter had questions about that. She was like, why is that one girl sticking her ass in the... She didn't say ass. Why is that one girl sticking a butt in her other girl's face? I'm like, the 90s.
Yes, did you tell her that was socially acceptable back in the day, and just put the women's movement back about 500 light years?
I told her back in 1994, a dog ran for president and won. It was really sweet. So we all had to greet each other by sniffing each other's asses, and it just kind of grew from there.
Oh, dear God, that is so right. So true. Out comes, after this, the unbelievable, the savage Sarah Logan, who was easily tossed out. It looked like...
Yeah, straight out of Mad Max, fucking Fury Road.
What the hell is going on with Sarah Logan? When are they just going to partner her with her two Viking buddies and be done with it?
Right.
Man, I just don't get it. Anyway, then at number 24, now number 24, you get Xia Li, the master of wushu. What in the fuck is wushu? Someone tell me, please. I don't know.
Form of martial arts.
It's the number 3.
Yes, with that you get egg roll.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. You got the debut of, or the mainstream debut, I guess, of Shotzi Blackheart.
Oh my god! I was screaming "No, Shotzi, no" when she went after Shayna Baszler.
So bad. Who was she? Who did she almost eliminate? It looked like she was going to. Yes. It looked like she was going to eliminate Baszler a little bit later on that match, and I was ready to lose it.
Screaming at the top of my lungs, "No, Shotzi, no."
Oh, man, so bad. Anyway, at this point is when the Glamazon started bleeding. And, man, she was bleeding over everybody. You could tell Charlotte was nervous to go around her and even do any spots. It was just this thing. She was just bleeding all over the place. And this led to the worst spot in the entire show, Santina Marella.
Oh, that was funny.
No, that was not fun. Zero crowd reaction.
Just don't know who the fuck he was. At this point, more people know about Jim Cornette fucking slapping him than they know about him as an actual wrestler.
I guess you're right. I guess you're right. Now, before this, Naomi had been eliminated, but she managed to leap to the ring railing. So she was out standing on a table while this whole entire Santina Marella thing was going on. And, she ends up jumping back in the ring, but Santino Marella comes out dressed as his female counterpart, Santina. And he gets eliminated, or he eliminates himself. He gets caught in between the Glamazon and Natalia, and they look at him, and he gets scared and gives himself the Cobra and knocks himself over the ring. And it was horrible. Hated it. And then the match gets saved because Baszler comes out at 30. I really enjoyed this. I got to say, Shayna Baszler looked like a champ. She did wicked work. I thought she was going to be eliminated by Shotzi right away. Thank God that didn't happen. So it came down to Natalia, who else was there? Beth Phoenix, Charlotte, and Baszler. And, of course, Charlotte wins. What a disaster of a finish this was. So if you're leading to, and I'll finish up with this, if you're leading to a match where you're having Charlotte, going to challenge for the NXT Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley, do you really need her to win this Royal Rumble? Let's be clear. Do you need her to win this? No, you didn't. That's the answer.
No, I was going to say I think it's a stronger storytelling point if she loses the Rumble to Shayna Baszler, who comes out and challenges Becky, and then Charlotte, just beside
screw
herself.
You, I'm going to your home and taking your belt.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
show like a week or two of her just crestfallen in the back, just depressed, like I don't know what to do. I'm a man without a country. I have no road forward. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm such a winner, and I can't get my shit together. I can't win. I can't beat Bayley. I can't beat Becky. I can't win the Rumble. And then she just shows up one day on NXT and throws Rhea Ripley off the roof of the performance centers or off the Full Sail. And she,
Perfect.
As Rhea Ripley's being carted away by an ambulance, she's just screaming, "I'll get you for this and your little dog too," And that's your story. With nowhere else to go, she went after Rhea Ripley out of fucking nowhere. Perfect. And instead, like she wins the Rumble, it's just like, I use my Rumble ticket to challenge the third tier belt lady.
Oh my God! That means we'll get 3
she's gonna
women's championship
Bayley?
matches. Oh my God! Oh. What a great match that is, Sheehan. Please don't let them hear that; they'll book it.
This was really good until the end, just like you guys are saying here. Earlier in the weekend, I saw that there was rumors that Santino Marella was going to be around. So when I heard the music hit for the Women's Rumble, I said, thank you, because that means he won't be in the men's. So that was good enough for me.
Good point.
I was happy that he wasn't going to be in the Men's Rumble, because I feel like he's a wasted spot either way. At least some people got to laugh at him poking himself with a sock. But like I said, everything about Baron Corbin a few minutes ago, that's Charlotte for me too. that heat she was getting afterwards, where Charlie came in and asked what she's going to do, and she's sopping up the booze. I don't think that's the kind of heat that a heel is going to get. I think that's like a more of a just defeated heat, where the crowd's just like, really, we're going to do this again? Because we're not thinking she's going to go to challenge Rhea, because that's stupid. That's not the move. She could do that any day of the year. Any like the top stars, the top women stars in WWE can be like, oh yeah, I'll slum it in NXT for a week, or I'll take the belt off the NXT champ. To waste that on Mania, it just seems weird. So I think all of our minds went to like, are we really getting Becky and Charlotte part 5,000? This is like the 2010s and 2020s version of John Cena, Randy Orton.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, again? We have to do this again? And then it's like, oh, well, maybe we'll partner them together again, and then they'll turn on each other again, and then they're just going to be... It's like the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens thing up until a little while ago. It's like they're just intrinsically linked, and they're never going to get apart. And that's where my mind went when I saw her win. It's like, crap, we're gonna get this, and it's like, if they don't main event WrestleMania, it'll be like a step back from last year. And then, so are they going to force this into the main event spot again? I don't know. I was just very disappointed at the end of this. I was Bianca Belair killed it. She was fantastic. And I really thought Shayna was going to win. I thought Shayna was going to win. I was very disappointed that she did not. I hate that Charlotte was the one that eliminated the Iron Women of the match too. She had to dump Bianca, and she had to dump Shayna. It's like, we get it, we get it. Charlotte is who she is. We get it, and it just left me with a real bad taste in my mouth.
I just have this image of like the writing, like the main writers of the shows. Like we've got the women's Royal Rumble match laid out. We've got our WrestleMania matches laid out, and they're like, oh, and Vince is like, okay, pitch me, and they just kind of show her a picture. They show him a picture of like Shayna Baszler, and he's like, I like what you're doing here. I like your pitch. Just move Baszler out and put Charlotte in there. And they're all like looking around, like that's not the fucking story. It doesn't work with Charlotte. He's like, I hear what you're saying, but take Shayna Baszler out of there and put in Charlotte. Like,
who the hell is this Sean Barsler?
Moving on. So we move to what can one say? Remember when Bayley had a match with in her colorful dusty outfit with fucking Sasha Banks for the title?
Yes, sir. Long gone are those days.
Oh my God, I haven't seen a wrestler fall quite so bad in a long time. But I don't know if like we've been fooled into thinking that Bayley is a good wrestler when she really isn't. She's just elevated by having really good people in there with her, and when she's the one that has to carry it, it all falls apart. Or Lacey is just that bad. But either way, this was a clunk fest.
Lacey just wrestled the Hunger Beast. She had a fight with the Hunger Beast over corn dogs. So she can't you can't hold it against her. She's not going to be 100%. She might have radiation poisoning from the microwave. It's just not a good scene. They threw a school bag at her. It was just not a good scene.
Well done.
Call Bill Apter.
to paraphrase Bruce Pritchard, Lacey Evans is a great gimmick and a great look, and then the bell rings, and it's like, you left NXT way too soon. And Bayley's
Is it a great gimmick, though? Is it actually a great gimmick?
She's so traditional. Don't you understand? It's unconditional.
Oh, God.
Salute. Anyway.
Did she even have any matches in NXT, though? Or did she just,
yes.
walk around there? Okay, she actually had matches.
She started doing the I'm just going to walk to the ring thing when she came on the main roster.
Okay.
Which apparently is what they do with a lot of the NXT people. Like the Street Profits, like, hey, you can't wrestle for a while, so for, the next 6 months, just, show up and do
really
bad comedy.
awful skits.
Yeah. Let me just say this, and I'll turn it over to you guys. Bayley's heel turn could have been so good, but for whatever reason, I feel like anytime they try to do something interesting with Bayley, like they purposely give her garbage to work with. Like, I don't know whose idea it is for her to come out and look like Billy Kidman in The Flock with the Egyptian little headgear she's got going on. Do you remember that WCW game where if you chose the wrestler, they'd do a little speech for you, and then they would go to the game, and like Billy Kidman's like, I don't care if you choose me, whatever, bye.
That one was great because Kevin Nash would try to get you not to pick him.
Yes.
He's like, you don't want, I don't want to do this today. You don't want to use me. Just leave me here. You don't want me.
I'm glad
Somebody
somebody
was right.
I'm glad somebody remembers it. But yeah, she's like Billy Kidman. Like I don't get she's mad that nothing was working out for her, and then her anger and frustration leads to her getting her title back against, clearly a superior opponent being Charlotte. And since then she's like, I don't care if I live or die. Here, I'm gonna wear this Egyptian headband thing.
Literally.
Fuck.
If we heard news that that Bayley killed herself tonight, we'd be like, oh yeah, that sort of makes storyline sense.
Yeah, that totally tracks. At this
Living the
point,
gimmick.
I wish she'd run with that. Like, it would be more interesting than what she's doing. Like every week, she's trying to kill herself, behind the scenes. Like she's like Sasha. It would be a great gimmick for Sasha to be the friend that's trying to stop her from killing herself constantly, because then maybe she'd stop getting injured.
Oh my god, that is the worst thing ever.
Sasha Banks is made of bird bone. All right. I'm going to take a breath here. Go ahead, Bayley. This garbage match.
Oh, Chris Bailey is going to talk about Bayley. This is great. What a transition. So Bayley, you're right. She looked like she needs some Prozac and needs that now by the bucket loads. She looks depressed coming to the ring. Her new music, if you take a look at it, the basis of it is the Rock's music. Ding,
Yep.
ding,
Totally.
ding, 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 mixed with a little bit of Cleopatra fanciness. But anyway, so you got Lacey Evans, and Mark, you said that's a good gimmick. Think
Yeah.
about what her gimmick is. Think about it. Well,
She's-
so she's what? She's so traditional. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah,
what a great gimmick.
She
But-
acts
but
like
anyway.
a lady, walks like a lady, talks like a lady, I think.
So what do we know about her? We know she has a 7-year-old daughter, Summer.
Yes, sir.
She's still using the Southern Belle gimmick, which makes no sense. And we know that she's been in a SWAT team. We know that she's really proud of her company. We know she's finished the top of her class. Blah blah blah. She's a role model. Blah blah. I mean, I'm just sick of it. I don't care. Anything.
She also
and
beat the Hunger Beast.
She beat the Hunger Beast, which is probably one of the only people she's ever beaten because she's on a horrible losing streak.
She's now the corn dog lineal champion.
Chris Sheehan, show me on the doll where the Hunger Beast touched you. What is going on over there?
Oh man, this is going south.
Oh, it was quite a scene. I mean, he shoved that corn dog.
He shoved it deep in her gullet.
And also that the Hunger Beast is
The most charismatic.
Hunger Beast you've ever seen, and shoved it so deep into her gullet that
Oh my, she's gonna puke.
and it was pretty gross. So the Hunger Beast really just left a scar on my soul, and I will celebrate every defeat of the Hunger Beast.
This is the best wrestling analysis that you can ever possibly provide here on the W2M network. This is the type of analysis you'll get every time from the Podsmen. That's right.
The Hunger
But anyway.
Beast. The Hunger Beast. My God is my witness. He's broke Lacey Evans in half. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Why do you learn to fall on a 15-inch hot dog?
My God.
Are you finished, gentlemen?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, that's good. I love it. Anyway, horrible match. Lacey finds, as much as I'd like to say this girl has improved over and over and over, I mean, she was a complete botch fest when she started, and that's one of the reasons why she was walking down that ramp so long, because some of those dark matches she was putting on, the agents were like, Vince, I know you want her in the ring, but brother, she's not ready. And they kept walking her down over and over and over. And then she got in the ring and the bell rung. And boy, Very, very basic match. I mean, Bayley looks about as unmotivated as anyone I've ever seen in the ring. She's going through the motions. This is a going through the motions match. But right at the end, Lacey seemed to be doing well, but then she botched 2 moves back to back. So she was almost like attempting almost like a 619 where she got into the ropes and she had to swing around and do like a kick inside the ring. And then she almost fell off and she only caught herself by her foot. So she jumps back into the ring and she goes to do, I guess, a standing moonsault or something, and she sort of just goes off kilter, and Bayley lifts the knees and yanks the tights and goes for a 3 count, and that's how this one ended in 9 minutes for the SmackDown Championship, and nobody cared. It was super flat, nothing to it, and I don't know what they're going to do with Bayley at WrestleMania, but they need to get that belt off her fast before this comes into WrestleMania, man.
I hope she defends it in the Battle Royal.
Why not? Well, why the hell not at this point? Why don't she just fight the Fiend? Maybe she'll change her gimmick.
Everyone who fights the Fiend is changed, so you never know.
Bayley needs a change.
Speaking of the Fiend, he defeated Daniel Bryan in 17 minutes 35 seconds in a strap match. Why the strap? Because the Fiend has teleportation powers, and with the strap, it nullified those powers so he couldn't go anywhere. And they used the strap to beat each other, and Daniel Bryan tried his level best to pull a decent match out of the Fat Fiend, and it was fine. It's all very fine. I wish I cared more about the Fiend, but I don't. I care more about
You're missing the red lights now?
Yeah, they didn't do the major accomplishment of this match. The thing I liked the most was they actually did it with the regular lights on and not the romantic mood lighting that they've been using. So that was good. Chris Bailey.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They turn the light on, and we get to see that it's now just a fat guy in a mask and some red and black striped pants. So there you go. The Fiend gimmick is dying on the vine. They need to add some firepower, whether it's actual people to make up his little team or something. They need to transition quick into something because the gimmick is starting to slowly go downhill. No, not slowly go downhill, very quickly. Interesting note on Daniel Bryan. So another guy who's got in with the Fiend, and of course he's changed too. But he comes out. Listen to this. So what was his gimmick when he first came back? He was like champion of the planet. You know what I mean? He was toting that he was going to save the trees and all this type of stuff. And he comes out, and I don't know who makes Daniel Bryan shirts, but it's like they're done by a 5-year-old in school. Like they're always like the worst color, and the font is always shit. And he's got this one coming out, and it's got yes on the front in a pile of trees, and on the back it says the planet's champion. Now, of course, when you think about it, what are they doing here? They're doing the whole Greta Thunberg thing where they're going pro-environment. So it's no longer a heel thing to do. Now it's like, oh my God, yes, he's for the environment. He agrees that global warming is a problem, right? And people are supposed to get behind that. I don't know,
in their
man.
defense, clean air and water and don't litter is probably not heel things. I'm just saying. Like, hey, we shouldn't be creating as many greenhouse gases as we possibly can. You're right.
Okay. I want to roll something by you. So what would happen? What do you think the crowd reaction would be if Roman Reigns came to the ring with Greta Thunberg as his manager?
They dump dog food on her.
How do you think that would go over? Well, exactly right. But seriously, he would be the mega heel because people just don't like it. They don't want to be told that all these years of throwing their McDonald's out the side of their car caused the environment and the ozone layer to
you're not wrong. But the fact that we're a planet full of morons doesn't make make these
absolutely.
bad ideas.
Absolutely. I agree. And we're talking about Greta Thunberg in the middle of a Daniel Bryan Fiend match. So this is not a good start to this match. But anyway, barely serviceable match. I didn't really like it. And he just beat Daniel Bryan with the mandible claw chokeslam. Just literally not out of nowhere, after 17 minutes of pure torture. I didn't like it. I didn't like the match. I couldn't care less. Daniel Bryan, for some reason, his back was full of red marks and he was bleeding. It was really odd, but it just dragged. It was not impressive. I could do without the Fiend, and this whole shtick is just trash.
Sheehan?
The Fiend matches are I mean, there haven't been a whole lot of them, but they all are like formulaic. It's like the old Hogan matches where like they have that formula where you just know what's going to happen every bit of the way. Where we haven't just beaten the snot out of Daniel Bryan, just whipping him with this damn thing, this Yapapai strap or whatever, and they're just going all over the place.
Yes.
Daniel Bryan gets
You brought out the Yapapai strap. God bless you.
Yapapai, brother.
But Daniel gets the Hope Spot, turns the Hope Spot around, Hope Spot comes back, then the Fiend just no sells. He stops selling. It's not even like he's no selling. He just stops reacting. Daniel's punching him, and it's not like he's no selling it. It's like just nothing's happening. He's standing there, and then he shoves the fingers in the gullet, and then gives him a real weak rock bottom looking thing, and that was it. It just feels like the Seth Rollins match where it's like they're just beating the crap out of one another, and then all of a sudden Bray just stops feeling pain. And it's
they sort of got mixed up with the Fiend and Bray Wyatt because the Fiend never said Yowie Wowie,
that's true.
but he yelled
I
it
don't
out
think he
during
said
this
that.
match.
He's only said
He's-
"let me in." I think, yeah,
He said it in this match.
that's true.
I don't know if
Maybe
I
he's
don't.
having a crisis of of conscience or something, or a identity crisis.
I think that makes me an asshole for pointing that out. But I just don't care enough
You are
to.
definitely not the only one.
But it just doesn't. It's like they're building this the exact wrong way because the person who beats him, probably Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, it's just not gonna.
Oh,
it's
God.
just not gonna. I don't think it's gonna mean anything. It's gonna just be. What do you do with Bray after that? You're gonna with the Undertaker. They were able to like humanize him. With the fat Juggalo, what are you gonna do? You can't humanize him really because
I think the only thing you're going to be able to do is send him with Robert Roode and get him some Myco-Pro.
Maybe they'll put him back in NXT. They'll have him challenge Rhea Ripley or something. I don't know. But it's just
Battle for the
I don't
thick
know.
labia.
I don't know where you go because you can't have him win every single match for all eternity, even though that's that's the only way the gimmick makes sense. But the person who beats him is going to they're going to kill the gimmick. They've made it so cartoonish that when somebody does finally beat him, it's done. There's really no walking it back. This isn't like the Undertaker losing his streak because okay, he just lost a match. This is like this monster with magic and doesn't feel any pain suddenly got beat. So where do you even go from that? And it's just the inherent problem with this sort of a gimmick. But the way they're building it, especially what time of year it is that we're building it, I just don't see where they could go post WrestleMania if what we think is going to happen happens.
With the Fiend, they have a model that they have to employ, and that's the Kane model. If you remember when Kane first came out, the first thing he does is he rips the door off the Hell in the Cell,
Cage. Yeah.
and and he attacks the Undertaker, and then he doesn't. I don't think he wrestles a match until WrestleMania. It's a lot of show up, hit the Undertaker, keep provoking him. They did a lot of story leading up to WrestleMania 14. Then they had the match, and the Undertaker beat him. And then it was like, okay, he lost his first match, he lost to the Undertaker, but it's the Undertaker, we get it. Mm-hmm. Their follow-up match was the Inferno match.
Yep.
And then that just kind of went on for a while, and then they're like, okay, well, we got to get him away from the Undertaker. So he ended up doing a thing with DX, and they did lots of different things with Kane. Not all of it was great or worked, but once they got through the story that they were trying to tell, they had, much like you said, it was either give Glenn Jacobs a new gimmick or find some fun things to do with Kane. So there's your model for the Fiend. The problem is Kane got off to a great start.
Yeah.
And when you consider what Glenn Jacobs was before that, a dentist, the Christmas creature, or whatever the fuck he was, Unabomber.
Diesel.
Yeah, fake
Don't
Diesel.
forget Diesel, yes.
When he really came out of the gates, just all guns a blazing. He did a lot of cool shit, and leading into that WrestleMania 14, they just told a great story. And that's
it was an arc. Yeah,
that's been the biggest problem with the Fiend is that one,
there is no arc.
there's been no arc. It's a lot of like they stumbled out of the gate and they've just kind of clumsy waitered their way through this. And then it's like, okay, well, we'll put him with Daniel Bryan. At least we'll get good matches out of him. And like, okay, sure, Daniel Bryan could wrestle a broom and have a good match. But you got to give us more than that with this character, or get rid of the character at this point. Like, send Bray back to the drawing board.
Like, do you think that they thought that this was going to get over the way it did? Because initially, I mean, when we were seeing like the bird puppet popping out of a box and we didn't know what it was all about, do you think that they thought that this Fiend character and this Firefly Funhouse gimmick was going to just capture people's imagination the way it did? Or did they think that this was just going to be, okay, here's Bray Wyatt's next thing? Well, because I think I feel like they didn't have much confidence in this when it started, and then it kind of blew up on them, and then Fox loved it and they wanted it, and here we are now. So I don't know if they even put, they had step 1 and step 2, but I don't think step 3 was ever in the planning.
Well, I think you're right and wrong at the same time. I think they wanted it to succeed. I mean, obviously Bray Wyatt believed in it. I think it was like his idea that he pitched, and it did get over. Like,
sure.
People love the Firefly Funhouse. I mean, I've been shitting on it since the beginning. I think the whole thing is stupid.
Oh, I loved it at the gate. Yeah.
But I've been in the minority on this one. Like when he came out initially as the Fiend with the Code Orange remix of his theme music, and they did the lights and everything. I remember like my little group of wrestling friends through a chat that I'm in were like, "That's how you fucking market a guy," and I'm like, "Who gives a shit?" Because this is the guy who jobbed like every single big match on the way into this. Mm-hmm. And I've been beating that drum for a while, so I'm not going to go back to it. But my cynicism aside, this worked for a while. But then they did the thing with Seth Rollins, and people like his first like big match. He does the thing with Finn Balor first, and it's so stupid it should be studied.
Yes, sir.
Then he has the feud with Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins, you want to talk about another fucking vortex of charisma. Mm-hmm.
The Monday Night Messiah.
My God, you want to talk about something that him and Bailey should go fucking bowling. By the way, both of them get handed gold and turn it into garbage. It's amazing. What a talent. Anyway, back to Bray Wyatt. So. He has the feud with Seth Rollins, and of course that fucking blows up on the launch pad. They fucked that all up, and now they're and now it's like they're trying to like change course with Daniel Bryan, but they're going to go into Roman Reigns next. So part of this has been, unlike The Undertaker, unlike Kane, they haven't told great stories with this character. And here's the thing, you can have an awesome character. But if you don't tell a good story around him, people are going to lose interest, and I think that's what's happening. That's what's happening with Bray Wyatt. Anything else on this? Otherwise, we're going to move on to the next match. No? Yes?
Move on.
Carry on dancing.
Becky Lynch had an awesome match with Asuka. They told a great story. She retained her championship. She finally won the big one against the undefeatable Asuka, unless you're Charlotte. At 16 minutes and 25 seconds, the whole thing with Asuka is she's been doing the Great Muta thing where she missed people in the face, and the last thing they did, and this was great because like Becky Lynch's promos as of late have been blah, kind of hot garbage, just kind of more of the same stupid bullshit.
that one on Raw in particular, just before this one, where she got the beat down, and then she took the mic and like promoted her way out of the arena, was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
When she got hit with the mist, though, that was amazing.
Oh, did you see the mist thing? Did you hear the controversy about the mist? So when they replayed that mist shot, apparently when it aired on Raw the first time, the mist was so light that it was almost invisible to the viewer. So then they added CGI mist for all the promo packages where it's... I'm dead serious. So it featured in this particular promo package. Rewatch it. There's like a barrage of mist. Like, I mean, she really gets sprayed with the full load.
She's like a fire-breathing dragon.
Oh, yeah, it is intense. But on Raw, it's like she spit in her face.
Well, either way, it's her first believable, like, fiery, I'm sick of the bullshit promo that we've seen from Becky Lynch in a while, and I liked it. I thought it was great. So, and then of course, the finish of this one is, this woman who's been misting all these people for all this time for the last couple of months is hoisted by her own petard. She gets kicked in the gut. She missed herself somehow, and Becky gets the win. She finally achieves the unachievable dream. She beats the unbeatable foe. She conquered her whale. There is peace in Israel. It's fine. I really like this match.
Yes, sir.
I really like this match. I thought they did a good job with it. I love Asuka. I love Kairi Sane. And the fact that they could pull an interesting match out of Becky and make me care is a Herculean feat in and of itself, Mr. Bailey.
The fact that they rebuilt Asuka to get to this point is good, because she's been buried so much in singles competition leading into this one, and she had a good thing, or still has a good thing going with Kairi Sane as the Kabuki Warriors. And you can make fun of the name and all that all you want, but that was a real transformation for her with her look and the ring style and all that stuff. And to see her back at the top of a singles thing was the right call. And bringing in the Mist was also an extra added bonus for that character. And the whole her walking into the Mist, her own Mist thing was pretty hilarious. It's like if someone, breaks wind or whatever and steps into their own fart. It's that sort of thing. But these guys had a really, really strong match. They beat her with the tap-out win, so, got nothing bad to say about this one. Really, really more than... It was just a really strong women's match, and it went about 17 minutes, and man, it was all good from start to finish. And Asuka, I don't know what she's doing, but I don't know if she's taking liberties in that ring, but man, she's really laying shit in, man. Like, she's really laying shit in.
Yeah, Asuka's reign of destruction in NXT was one of my favorite things at the time.
Absolutely, awesome. And one of the real building blocks to making NXT succeed, man, was Asuka's reign.
And she continues to be one of my favorite wrestlers. Not even just like female wrestler, but like she has such charisma. Her and Shinsuke. She's just so great, and I wish Vince. I'm glad she's had the push that she's had recently, and that Vince kind of got over his, well, she's a Japanese speaking Japanese, and how does that connect with anybody? Well, it does, asshole. Try watching your own program.
Indeed.
So it's just I'm a little frightened now, because it's like, okay, well, this was like the big feud, and it's over now. And she had a great match with Charlotte on Raw, but I feel like in a month it's going to be like Kabuki Warriors versus the Iconics on the pre-show, which, whatever. But
oh, God. I like the Iconics, so it's not too much of an oh God.
Iconic. All right. Sheehan, what'd you think of the Goyles?
Well, the result was never in question, unfortunately. I was hoping against hope that Asuka would pull this out, but there was just no way. As for Becky's promos of late, it feels like she's going to like the Seth Rollins school, where everything is a catchphrase now. I mean, you can't cut a fiery promo and then say, when the man comes around. It just doesn't work for me. It pulls me right out. It's like, okay, you're back to buzzwords now, so you really don't care about this match. It's about getting a new T-shirt sold. I just really sign off when I hear that kind of crap. But I wish Asuka could have won this. I really do. Becky, I think we've said this, or I know you've said this, Mark. Becky got over, and they don't know how she got over. Nobody knows how she got over, so they're like she's like over in spite of everything they're doing, and just everything about her seems phony. She finally gets the win, and she like does that respect nod at Asuka. But then I think she didn't realize that the camera got it, so she did it again. And then I think she didn't think the camera got that time, so she did it again. And then the third time, she didn't think the camera quite got it, so she did it again. It's like she
gotta get that right angle.
She kept walking back over to her and giving her a nod. It's like, what is this? Is this a competitive match, or is this a television? Is this like take 3 of a scene in a television show?
But Asuka's Japanese. She may not understand.
She might. Yeah, there might be some cultural discrepancies there. She might not get it. One thing about Asuka, she does have a YouTube channel now, and it's very, very entertaining. And one of her catchphrases is "easy peasy," and it's something that she's actually been ranting in her promos. She puts "easy peasies" in her promos now, which tickles me. I think that's pretty funny. Like you guys said, I don't know where they go from here. This could very well be at WrestleMania. It might just be a, hey, we've got all these extra women. Should we have a battle royal before the show starts? I just don't know where they go, and especially with this one being in Tampa. With we have Kyrie, who just gave up her pirate gimmick. I don't know what they do with these girls now. Do they turn them against each other? Does Kyrie does she find a treasure chest in the backstage area and be like, oh wait, I used to have one of these, and then open it up and see it like a looking glass? Oh boy, this is what I used to do. And then Asuka slaps it out of her hand, and we have a feud for WrestleMania. I kind of hope that's what they do, but who knows?
Io Shirai's out for 2 months, and I hope she comes back just to feud with Kairi Sane, because those two in the ring looking at each other,
that was great.
Oh my god, that was so good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, but yeah, I mean, this was Becky's night, as they all have been. So there we go.
All right, the tale of two Rumbles. First, we had number one, Brock Lesnar, who has 13 eliminations. And I'll tell you, when Brock Lesnar... First of all, Brock Lesnar, oh my god, who knew he had such charisma? Who knew?
Rules. Oh, he rules.
Brock Lesnar, dancing to people's theme music.
MVP's music.
So funny. I laughed my fucking ass off. And here's the thing, all his eliminations were kind of different. Some guys he actually had some competition with. Some guys he just threw immediately out. I mean, I'm looking at some of these times here. So okay, I don't like Elias, and I think this is one of those things where Vince is tickled by it, and so he's gotten a lot because Vince thinks his fucking gimmick's hilarious. But I'll tell you, coming to the ring and saying I'm a sacrificial lamb had me rolling on the floor laughing. That was such a meta moment for me. I'm almost I don't know how he got away with it. He lasted a minute, and I'm pretty sure that was the entire song. Eric Rowan got the Barbarian, I think, who was 8 seconds or whatever. He got the Santino elimination, where it's just he comes in, boom, he's out again. Robert Roode, 41 seconds. Poor John Morrison. I'm wondering if he has a gambling debt, and that's why he came back.
I've nicknamed Robert Roode the Juice now, by the way.
Perfect.
I've repurposed it.
So the first 5 were just the first 4 eliminations and just slaughtering people. Kofi Kingston, Rey Mysterio, Big E all came in next, and Kofi Kingston's 5 minutes, Rey Mysterio's almost 3, Big E was almost a minute, and this was different. They kind of ganged up on Brock, and Brock had to fight his way from underneath. Like I said, they broke up. They did this whole thing where he was in there for almost half the match, but they did each segment differently to where I didn't lose interest. I know some people hated it, but I think some people just hate Brock Lesnar. Our feelings on Charlotte are kind of their feelings for Brock. Brock, you have so much. Why do you need this? I'm because it's fucking great. And Brock Lesnar doing little things. It was like when he won the Money in the Bank, and the next time you see him, he's using it like a boombox.
Oh god,
he's awesome. So funny. I put this on Twitter. Comedy Brock is the best Brock. Because that's the way you should do it. You should be a total a badass in the ring, but outside of the ring, just be a hilarious clown. Anyway, the Shelton Benjamin thing was really funny. It was just let's team up together. Yeah, we're the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, and then he's gone. I blinked and Shinsuke was gone. That was 20 seconds. We talked about the dancing thing. And then he did a bit with Keith Lee and Braun Strowman, and now I thought that was going to go longer than it did, and that's when I wanted Walter to come out. I wanted Keith Lee, Braun Strowman, and Walter to be surrounding Brock Lesnar. But I never get what I want. So he beat up Ricochet on the previous Raw. Ricochet came out. Drew McIntyre came out. They nut-shot at him, and then Drew kicked him over the thing. And then the Rumble ended, and I went to bed. Chris Bailey.
Oh boy, there's a lot to cover here.
That's all I want to talk about.
Yes. So the first 15 minutes, or the first 15 eliminations, of course, just Brock ramshacking people. I mean, it was really, really strong. I mean, Elias being thrown out. You got Rowan coming out with his, and I think what he's got in there, and I finally decided it's a lobster. I think that's a lobster pot he's bringing to the ring. You got the Juice. Robert Roode come in, gets tossed out. John Morrison getting tossed over. Oh, John Morrison's entrance. So it's interesting, some of the entrances. So they couldn't go all the way with all the normal gimmicks that they do with rampways and different things like that. So Morrison had to come in, and he had to do his slow motion entrance with no wind or fan blowing in his hair like the normal stuff. So just take a look at it. It was
He's doing
hilarious.
like a robot.
But when he gets thrown over the rope, he lands straight-legged on the floor. I mean, like you said, this guy must owe a gambling debt or something. People want this guy murdered. I don't know what it is. You notice how over Kofi Kingston was when he came in? It was like they were incensed that they wanted him to throw out Brock Lesnar. I mean, it was a really, really big pop.
Yeah, well, people also do drugs.
I really liked the Shelton Benjamin where they tried to pair him up, and Paul Heyman tried to play him off as good friends, and they brought up their former history and all that stuff. They threw out Shinsuke Nakamura like a rag doll. That was not a thing. But then MVP comes back. Now, what do you think of that surprise? So he's one of the few surprises that were in this Rumble. What do you think? I mean, I thought he looked very serviceable. He came out with a Black Panther suit on.
Yep.
Go ahead, Sheehan. I don't care.
Oh, we're gonna do the first half, right? Okay. I loved every bit of it. I thought Brock. I'm a Brock mark. I think he's fantastic. Just about everything he does, I think, is fantastic. I now know why they didn't save John Morrison's return for the show. Because I thought they were foolish to put him back on SmackDown before the Rumble when they could have just brought him back here. But I guess plans changed, and this is the direction they were going to go. But Brock I loved the triple. Kofi, Ray, and Big E all ganging up on him, and Brock tossing Ray, Ray does the poetry in motion Hardy Boy thing and gets chucked over the top. Yep. Brock jumps on Big E's back and catapults into Kofi. Oh, it was just amazing. And he didn't look exhausted. He didn't look tired. He just looked like a monster, which is exactly what you wanted from Brock out of Brock 100%. For this sort of a match. This is just
absolutely.
And the fact that I was convinced, when you're going 5 or 6 guys out, I was almost convinced that this was going to be the whole show, the whole card, the whole match. Brock is just going to throw everybody out, which I would have been okay with.
Yeah, by the time it got to the 15th entrant, Joe, I was sort of like, okay, we sort of need to switch gears and do something different. And at that moment, they actually did. So
that's exactly when they did. It was fantastic.
Yep.
And especially, even Brock getting booted, it didn't make him look weak. He was nutshotted. So it's he isn't really the Incredible Hulk, who actually might feel it when you kick him in the crotch too. So who knows? But I thought for a minute when he dumped his 10th guy, I thought an achievement unlocked was going to pop up on top of the screen. I thought oh man, he's going for PlayStation trophies here or something. But no, I just thought it was great. Even when Keith Lee comes out and he's like, "Whoa, big boy, who's this guy?"
I love that. The Keith Lee Brock Lesnar thing was great.
I wasn't, I was kind of hoping that their first exchange would have been a little bit more, not so much epic, but I suppose it was memorable. But I wanted to see it more even than what it was. So I feel like they almost wasted an opportunity there.
Yeah. And not only that, Keith Lee did the worst cartwheel he's ever done.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I am glad that Walter didn't come out because I didn't want him being tossed so quickly. So I'm happy that there was no Walter. I was afraid that Walter was going to come out and get tossed right around then too, especially after Strowman came out, who he's kind of caught that disease of of losing all of his charisma. He's just another dude now. But yeah, that first half of the match, and when Drew came out, I was like, okay, they're not going to dump Drew. and they didn't. So that was a good thing for the first half there. If you wanna take us home through the end of this.
Yeah, Brock should have won. Plugs. This is me throwing a tantrum. I'm totally pouting. Let me tell you how I have. If Mark has the book, Brock eliminates everybody. Just breaks all the records, has 29 eliminations, and wins the Royal Rumble, and just walks off. Just throws the title in the trash, throws his pants at the audience, and walks out of the building buck-ass nude.
But
That's
on this
how I
day, do
booked
you
it.
see clearly? On this day, do you see clearly? I don't know.
I honestly, that's. I think I would have done it just to troll the audience. People just walking out like what? But also then, like, with nobody winning the Rumble and no clear direction as to how they're going to get to WrestleMania, you can then solve that problem at Elimination Chamber. I think that makes that one, because the problem with Elimination Chamber is it's one of those on the way to WrestleMania deals, and it's like,
It's the road. The road.
Yeah, the road.
The road. The grandest stage of them all.
So it becomes the problem is, like, it becomes one of those pay-per-views, like, it's a brutal match and everything, and those Elimination Chambers tend to be really fun. But we kind of know where things are going already, which takes the oomph out of it. You kill the Rumble to where you have no clear direction where any of this is going. I think that builds up interest for the Elimination Chamber. But that's just me. The other side of it is I would have, with The Undertaker being mostly gone and them not really having, like, they don't have, Brock's the closest thing they've got right now to, like, a phenom character, somebody who can do stuff the rest of the roster just can't do. And I think giving him, he beat the Undertaker streak. He was the Universal Champ for like a really long time. He won Money in the Bank. I'm like, why not make him win the Royal Rumble at number 1 and eliminate 29 other guys? No one's ever done it before. I think that would be hilarious. The other way I would have done this, and neither one of these people was actually in the Rumble, but especially when I realized that it wasn't for the belt, which really pissed me off. I thought he put the belt on the line. They did that a few years ago in Orlando when AJ Styles debuted. And that's the one where Triple H won, and they had the Triple H Roman Reigns WrestleMania.
Oh, that was awesome.
Sure.
No, it wasn't. It was garbage.
But I thought he was putting the belt on the line, and then, like, somebody corrected me on 411. I'm like, oh, no, this is not fun. But I desperately wanted, like, number 30 to be Tyson Fury, and he eliminates Brock. That would have been even better. But only because I hate everyone, and they would have all been mad. Everybody. People who don't even watch wrestling would have been mad.
I forgot all about Tyson Fury. Holy cow.
And most people have. He's busy prepping for his fight against Deontay Wilder on February 22nd by jerking off 7 times a day. Like you do.
Is that how you keep your lineal championship shined
Yes.
up? Okay.
Sure do. And speaking of jerking off 7 times a day, Chris Bailey, take me home here.
Oh, boy. So a couple points on the last part of the match. So, of course, the big word. Oh, wait, now. We had Carl Anderson come in. Now, the reason why I point this out was I mistaken him for an actual part of the Dark Order from AEW. I'm like, what? I said, what's the Dark Order doing here? And I'm like, oh, it's Carl Anderson. Anyway, Edge makes his big return. And, I mean, he was super emotional when he came out, and that crowd popped like crazy. I mean, it was a pop like this generation has never seen in a little while. I mean, it was huge. The only thing that I compare it to is the Hardy Boys' return at WrestleMania 33. I mean, it was a roof blower. Now, Edge comes out, and I'm not sure what it is. Does Vince take a look at these guys when he brings them back? I remember years ago when Bret Hart made his big return, and he faced off against Shawn Michaels in the ring and all that stuff. And he let him go out, and he had this straggly-ass gray hair, and he looked like a senior citizen. I'm like, man, can you just give the guy some hair dye and just make him look a little bit like himself? Then you got Edge come out. I mean, he looks pretty good. He looks like a little bit like it, but he's got this little goatee, and it's full of gray, and it just aged him 20 years, man. I don't know what it was. Then he had his chest hair, and I'm not a chest hair guy, even though I got it. That's a spoiler. He comes out and he's got gray chest
That's a
hair.
shoot, brother.
Yeah, he just he just aged 20 extra years just with that little bit. I mean, listen, give the guy some Just for Men hair dye and just fix that shit up. I don't know, simple stuff. Then you had, his return. Of course, they botched his return. He came into the ring and they completely missed his first spear, which was odd. I mean, WCW booking at its best there. And, of course, you had a bunch of eliminations. They paired up Randy Orton and Edge. They did the whole, rated RKO thing, and they eliminated the Good Brothers. And then you had KO come out to Zero Pop, and he did a stunner on Roman and another one to Orton. And really not a hell of a lot going on. Everybody ends up getting eliminated, and it comes down to Roman Reigns and the guy who actually won it, which is, I'm drawing a blank here now because it's getting late. Help me out, guys. Drew McIntyre. You thank God. Thank you. It's too late. Anyway, Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns, and I actually thought for a second that they were going to put Roman Reigns over again. I was with Charlotte winning in the beginning and then Roman Reigns winning this one. I don't think I would have watched WWE anymore if this happened.
I would have bet money that Roman was going to win it.
Oh, me too.
I thought he was going to win it from the start. I thought he was going to win it, and
because they had put Drew McIntyre over so big in this match, like he had elimination after elimination after elimination. He could have got the good sportsmanship ribbon. You know what I mean? And everyone would have been like,
Diesel,
"Oh my God, yeah, the Diesel." Yeah. My God, he did so well, and then put Roman over and just give him the match like they always wanted to do anyway.
They got to anoint him again.
Drew McIntyre is going to the main event at WrestleMania now. To me, that's not one nickel of money in the bank. I don't know what your thoughts are, but Drew is a great-looking guy. He can wrestle satisfactorily in the ring, but he's got the personality of a paperclip. I don't know how it's going to pan out, man. I just don't know. I thought the Rumble, I thought it was pretty good, and I was satisfied that someone else outside of the norm actually won. So I mean, it was okay. It was a little bit better than Mark's Fine.
Oh, hey, I got an update here. NXT TakeOver Portland, the Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly will be taking on the Broserweights or the Grizzled Young Veterans. Whoever wins the Dusty Cup. So there you go.
Oh, okay. There we go. Very cool.
Live update.
There we are. Right, we're live and in living color. But I was happy to see Drew win. I've been a Drew fan for a long time now, and I hated seeing him in a 3-man band. I thought that was just the shits. I think all three of those guys are probably better than that gimmick, but Drew especially. So I was happy to see him win it because I was certain Roman was going to win it. And this was around the time in the night where my wife kept coming back into the room, going, "Is it over yet?" and I'm like, "No, it's the 20th guy just came in. How many guys is it? I think it's 30. It's 30. So how long is that? I don't know." So it got very, very late. But when Roman came out, I said, okay, he's going to win, so don't worry. He'll kick everybody out now. So Baron Corbin, of course, he did his double duty and threw out Matt Riddle, which sucked. It didn't give him that heel heat. It gave him that please go away and never come back heat. What else? I had things to say. Oh, yes, Edge came back. And they missed his first spear, like you said. I wanna like just put out like a plea to the entire WWE universe. When you go to a show and you buy a ticket, you can do whatever you want, but please, for the love of God, stop doing that fucking thing where you put your hands over your head and gape your mouth open, because you are robbing camera time from things going on in the ring. Because Vince loves that, or whoever the hell is running these cameras loves it when you put your hands on your damn head and open your mouth.
They loved that guy when The Undertaker was defeated,
Jesus.
that black guy. Remember?
Jesus.
He put his hands on his head and with the glasses and the whole thing. That's his fault.
I think so. I think he might be patient zero in this disease that we've had just floating around the wrestling world here. Somebody, and I actually said this in one of our chats on DM, that, imagine like Hogan going to lift Andre, and then they go to like some idiot with his hands on his head.
Could you imagine?
And somebody made a GIF of it. somebody actually made a GIF of Hogan going to pick up Andre, and then like the camera panning to some jackass with his hands on his head. It's like this is what, and for a company that is just so big on sound bites and on highlight reels, you're killing it. You're killing your own highlight reels by showing jackasses in the crowd, because all that footage is going to be used for is your next WWE Shop.com commercial, where it'd be like, OMG, and some idiot with his hands on his head. Stop it, please. Stop.
I need one of those now where like Hogan's going to slam Andre, but they cut away and they show you Ms. Girl.
just like staring a hole in the world there. But yes. So if you do go to a show that has cameras, please don't do that. Please just don't do that.
Yeah. Because
that is kryptonite to whatever the hell production trucks they have. They will find you and they will put you on TV, and they will rob whatever athlete is putting their body on the line to show your stupid ass with your hands on your head. But that's enough of that. Drew won. I was happy with that. I was very pleased that Drew won, and I went to bed happy.
So my pouting aside, I will say this. I'm glad Roman didn't win. I'm glad they're trying somebody else. Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar is about as exciting to me as watching paint dry, but at least it's not Roman
gonna
Reigns.
Be great.
Sure. I'm going to be there with my kids, who hopefully won't want to kill themselves because this thing is going to end at 1 o'clock in the morning, and my daughter turns into a pumpkin at 9. Whatever. That's WrestleMania for me in a nutshell. It's like I'm there with my family. It's a night out. We're having a great family time. I don't really care what's going on in the ring anymore. But
fair enough.
Yeah, the night before when I go to NXT, then I'll care. But yeah, I mean, look, this Royal Rumble was different. It was exciting. It was funny. It was entertaining, and that's all I ask out of this. Even after Brock Lesnar, when I joked, I was like, well, there went my interest. And it was like, they didn't do bad stuff. There were some things that there's always going to be some things that like irritate me. Like the way Matt Riddle was ditched and eliminated in 41 seconds and shit like that.
Don't.
But I think the philosophy in the NXT guys is don't give them too much. Why would they? If we give them too much, then why are they on the C brand? Why aren't they on the main roster? All right, cool. This is why I only watch NXT, but. I kind of forget that the main roster exists. But overall, I mean, with the WWE, we talk about this whenever we do these TV parties for wrestling. It's like, as long as you don't hate it, it's fine. Chris Bailey kind of joked about this before. It was a fine show. It wasn't the. I think me and you talked about TLC 2019. Speaking of which. And we were like, ugh. Remember Chris Bailey?
Yes. Oh, was that me?
No,
or you?
Sorry, it was you and Sheehan. That's right, I had you all to myself that night. We talked about it. It was like, oh, this is kind of a bump in the road on the way to a bigger show. Like they had just done Survivor Series. We had the Royal Rumble coming up. It was kind of meh. This was better than meh, which for the WWE and their bland as fuck programs is pretty goddamn good. So, meh. They haven't made me want to cancel my subscription just yet, and I won't so long as NXT still remains good. So, if you enjoyed our review of wrestling and you've been enjoying our review of wrestling, we've got more coming up. Hot diggity! Let's see. There's a halftime heat this Sunday during the Super Bowl. I'm hoping. Somebody steps up and wants to do live coverage of that while it's going on. Hint, hint. Nudge, nudge. Say no more.
That's happening this year?
Yes.
What is it?
I have no idea.
Oh.
They probably announced it tonight, or Wednesday night. But more on that in Twitter. But yeah, hopefully we'll be doing some live alternative commentary for halftime heat during the Super Bowl. Either way, the next time we do a review of this will be Thursday night for NXT TakeOver Portland. I hope you will both be available because that's when I have this scheduled. Yeah? Yes, no?
Okay, I'll definitely give my shot. Absolutely.
Mr. Sheehan?
When is this?
Thursday, February 20th.
I have class.
I should be
on-
good. I don't think there's anything going.
What time's your class end?
It's 6 to 10, whatever the hell time zone I'm in. Mountain Standard? Mountain... I think I'm 2 hours behind you.
Shit.
Yeah, it's about the size of...
What about Tuesday nights?
Tuesday I'm free.
All right, I guess I'll switch these and I'll just move. Have to tell the gang that we're going to move Sonic the Hedgehog to Thursday because now you're available on the 18th. Got it. Hey Bailey, we're doing it on the 18th instead. You available?
Sounds good, brother.
Hot damn. All right. Should probably consult people before I just start scheduling things. And then after that, we got AEW Revolution on February 29th. We've got Super Showdown on February 27th. So I have that scheduled for Sunday, March 1st. We can cover both shows if you guys are available.
I know I'll
Yeah, I'll
watch
see
one
what-
of them.
Yes, sir.
That's a month out, so we'll see what we're looking like there. But I'll definitely cover the shows with you at some point.
Sounds good. All right. And then finally, the Elimination Chamber is Sunday, March 8th, and I have that scheduled for March 11th, maybe, hopefully. We'll see what happens. Who knows? It's all very
Play it
exciting.
by ear.
Yes. All right. In the meantime, go ahead and check us out on the W2M network. Punch that into your podcast app. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you punch W2M. You will find all the Rattledge and Broadcasting shows. If you happen to listen to us on Apple, please give us a star review of some sort, whatever you think we deserve. I'm not begging for 5 stars because fuck all that. But some sort of star review is always welcomed. And if you've really got a moment and you've got the time right there in the app itself, you can go ahead and leave a comment, some sort of description of what you liked about the show or hated. I'll take either one. I'm at Mark Rattledge on Twitter if you want to contact me there. Chris Bailey, what do you got going on in your world?
Well, here's the quick and dirty. You can find me on Twitter at Charlton_hero. We just came off a really fun super blog team up. So we're a bunch of blogs got together and we did a little event called Chromium where we covered all kinds of gimmick covers and all that type of thing. And our work is out there. Just go on, just hashtag superblog team up or hashtag STBU and you can find all that fun stuff. And you can find me here hanging out with Mark or with Mr. Sheehan doing some podcasts around the web. So basically, I'm at your mercy, gentlemen, and it's been a fun night. And live from the Lord Nelson Hotel and Suites, I bid you guys a good night.
Take me home, Daddy-O.
You can find me at chrisisoninfiniteearths.com. I also just came off the very fun Superblog Team Up Chromium event, which actually got me to film my first video. So if you check out my blog post there, you'll actually see me live or taped. And
He's actually naked. He's completely naked in that video.
It's weird. My skin looks like a blue polo. It's the craziest damn thing. I think it's some sort
He's
of weird
Jewish.
condition. Oi. But now also, I don't know when this is going to be uploaded, but on January 31st of this year, I'll be celebrating 4 years of daily blogging over at Chris's on Infinite Earth. So that's every single day for 4 years. So that's a
Congrats,
long
brother.
time. It's a thank you. It's well over 1 million words. It's tens of thousands of pictures. It's thousands of posts. It's a lot of stuff over there that most people don't really care about, but it's there if you decide that you want to find out what Black Canary did in Action Comics Weekly number 609, randomly. But everything's there. Also, KristenReggie.com. I do a bit of podcasting, a little bit less than usual these days, but trying to get back into it. So if you would like to hear more from me, talking about anything from comics to losing weight, stupid stuff in my own life.
Let me help you here. If you want to hear the best comic book radio plays you've ever heard in your life, check out Chris and Reggie reading comics to each other, especially when they have to do female voices. It's the best.
Oh boy, the female voices are so hard. Reggie is
So good.
is a lot better at it than I am. He's able to pull out sort of like a New Jersey girl accent.
You
Where
both sound like Edith from All in the Family. It's fantastic.
I think every woman in my family sounds like Edith and from All in the Family, so it's fitting. And you'll get to hear me do my my Macho Man Randy Savage, my very poor Randy Macho Man Savage impression every time that there's a tremendous beast in a comic book. So there's that too.
Perfect. I don't remember which one we were talking about, but I said I need this read as a radio play. All right, folks. We went long tonight, but we had a lot to talk about. But it's always a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll get more of these wrestling shows covered for you in the future. For the Chris's, I'm Mark Radulich. This has been TV Party Tonight, brought to you by the W2M Network. Be well, be safe, and behave.